today we're going to do a little bit more of a demo. Okay. So today, the agenda for today is that here's some of the things that we're going to be covering. For you guys, it's going to be very quick and dirty kind of a thing, but I think it's pretty useful because these are some of the stuff that I usually use. So the first starting, what we're going to do is that we're going to use Character Map. How many of you guys used Character Map before? You guys never used it? Okay. So what Character Map does, I'm just going to go type in Character Map. Okay. So what this does is that it brings up like a list of, symbols that you guys could use. Like sometimes when you go with like a generic aerial, for example. Okay. So what it does is that it allows you to kind of like pick kind of like the symbols that you may not know that exist inside your windows. So, yeah. So what I typically would probably scroll down is use what's known as the webding or wingding. Okay. So what webding does is that it has a symbol that you guys could use. Let's say, for example, if you're doing like a site plans and stuff like that, and you want to like basically say, okay, I need a bus symbol. So what it does is that here they got a couple symbols that you could use, right? So what this does is that it just allows you to kind of like, rather than putting in text, you can just use the symbology. If you want like to do like a men's and women's washroom, there you go. All right. Now, the nicest thing about this is that this will appear inside your AutoCAD, Revit, or any programs that you're using. Okay, they're all text-based. Now, if you want to go even further, I'm just going to, you can download a couple of fonts. You can try it out at home. I practically just tell people that, yes, you can actually use fonts for different things. In here is that these are all the fonts you can use, and I'm just going to say, let's say, shapes. Okay, so what this does is that it has like a lot of the symbols that you can actually replace certain things with something else. So rather than recreating stuff, I know that inside Photoshop, people tend to just create their own graphics, but if you replace them with text, then you don't have to do it. So, okay, so let's say I'm going to do it inside the AutoCAD side of things. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that it's very simple. All I have to do is just create a style. Okay, I usually just call it symbol. And within that symbol, I'm just basically going to replace it with wingding, for instance, since I want to do the arrow sign. I'm going to set current, yes. And right now, I'm just going to say, I'm just going to go with e-text. Okay. Sure, whatever. Oops. And then enter. And then by typing it in, you notice that you can just create an arrow sign. So let's say I want to do just one arrow sign. Oops, that's not a good arrow sign. That starts with A. Okay. So what it does is that you can just set up a symbol saying that that's the arrow sign for, if you're doing a wayfinding and stuff like that. So you use this as a graphical thing. So rather than just basically create your own graphics, I just use text. I mean, it's much easier. Just do that roll and then that's it. All right. Any questions so far? This is just kind of like introduction to if you want to use this. Now you can also do north arrow. If you want to do north arrow, you can also look into the wingdings. Okay, they do have north arrow. You can just use the arrow sign and stuff like that. I think there is one on the other side. Do they have anything? They do also have numbers. Okay. Okay, you can use that as well. I mean, it's up to you how you want to do it, but the option's there. All right. Next thing I'm going to talk about it's Demo Reference Manager. All right. So let's say, for example, you have an issue with AutoCAD. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just like use one of the. Sorry about that. Oops, cancel. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to open up this particular drawings. Okay, this reference manager. So how you call up the reference manager is that you go to Autodesk, right? All programs. You go to Autodesk, and in here is that you have 2016 or 2014, depending on which version you're using. And in here, there is one called the reference manager. Now, what reference manager does is that if you ever move your file from, let's say, one location to another, and you want to repath all of that files under one location, Reference Manager will just do it quickly, okay? So let's say I'm going to go click on Reference Manager. Now, in here, I want to basically add a drawing, okay? Now I would ask the audience if you have any projects that I want to basically repath. I could just show to you how it's done. Do audience have any projects that you want me to basically repath? If not, I'm just going to pick one from whatever. Okay, so here I'm just going to look into one of the projects that was given to me earlier. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go in there. Well, not lot P. So this person may not know that I'm configuring it, but that's okay. So, all right, House Street it is. Anyways. Okay, so right now I'm just going to go find the House Street. So search for that project number. Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go into the 5.9 drawings, current, and then AutoCAD. I would go with the sheet first, okay? Since this person's using the CDs, contract documentation, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to take in this contract documentation, and I'm just going to select, let's say, a batch of drawings, okay? All I have to do is just drag and drop. Now, it's going to ask you want to add all XREF or just the first level. How I would do it is that if you're confident that the XREF are all very, very clean, I would say add all. But if you're not confident that this project was done correctly, I would say at the first level. The first level just basically means that any nested XREF, it's going to ignore any nested XREF. This is good if you want to do like batch cleanup first. You just go stage by stage by stage. But most of the time, I just go at first level. Okay. So what it does is that it's going to go through all of this. Now, the first thing you want to check is the state path. So if you click on this, okay, ignore all this plot configuration because they're pretty much useless, like AIA standards and all that stuff. We don't care about that. The only thing we care about is the drawings. So what you have to do is that I typically click on the state path, and you just want to watch out for the symbol, this particular XREF attachment. So you're noticing that all of this has dot, dot, slash, dot, dot, slash, means that, okay, those are relative paths. Now, if you want to change the path, let's say, for example, this path has not been changed, all I have to do is just select this and edit, okay? So what I would do is I just remove this first line, just say delete, dot, dot, slash, dot, dot, and when you hit OK, what it does is that it will tell you that this is repathed to this new location, and it will give you a check mark saying that, yes, that location is found, that's how it's done. So if you're using one of the sheet set template, all you have to do is just keep adding in dot, dot, slash, and then it's going to be either standard, views, element, or construct, okay? So once you've done that, then what you do is that just go apply changes, okay? What it does is that it's going to go through all that drawings, and it's going to repath all that stuff to relative path. In 2018, AutoCAD will basically set your path as relative as a default. So when you extract a drawing in, it would tell you, please save the drawing first. Then when you extract them in, it would automatically set it as a relative path, okay, rather than doing full path. The reason why we do not want to use full path is because your server, let's say the project gets archived, it will want to pick up whatever's the last project, and most of the time, the object will get lost, and you have to repath all of that stuff when you have to recover a lot of this file. So what I typically do is that I use this to repath them, okay? This also works for repathing, let's say if you have images, okay? I'm not sure if there's an image that's in here, probably not. But if you see an image, it's virtually the same thing. So you just say dot, dot, slash, whatever that location of that image, and it will just find it. Same as PDF, you'll find it. Just ignore the rest of the stuff and you're fine. Any questions so far? It does? No? Pretty self-explanatory.
Well, it makes sense, but I won't remember it, and
sure.
writing it down is going to be a big mess. So
yeah. So all I have to do.
The fact that I know it exists.
Yeah, it exists. it's just that a lot of people, what they tend to do is that they open up every drawings and then repath it. That's a lot of work. So I would just say do not use that. So I'm just going to demonstrate pretty quickly how to do it again. So, okay, first thing first is that have this open. Okay. Next thing you want to do is that you want to select the drawings that you want to repath. Okay. So I'm going to repath all this drawing. And then you're just going to drag and drop. Okay. And you say automatic or the first. I'll just say first because I don't know how clean this drawing is. Okay. If you have a really messed up drawings, it's always good to go with the first reference. Okay. In here, what you're going to do is that you select this. Okay. Make sure that they're all grouped the same, like they have the same name, and it makes it way easier. And then what you do is that right click on this and edit for select path. And once you have that, then you can say remove the first value and then just say dot slash plan. Okay. What it does is that it's going to group it together and then make everything the same. Once you're finished, just say apply changes. Okay. What it does is that it's going to go through all the drawings and then just repath everything. Okay. There we go. Any questions so far with this?
I like it.
Like it? Yeah. Okay. So if you do run into that problem, this is a way to do it. Okay. So let's see what's next on the list. Batch replacing your 11x17 detail block using AutoCAD. Okay. This is could be tricky depending on how user wants to do it. So
Did you put those drawings back to where you found them?
it will automatically just replace whatever file's in there. Yeah. Okay. It's better if you do it that way. Just say go into the sheets and then just replace it. Yeah. Okay. So the next demo I'm gonna put in is the let's say you want to replace the 11x17 drawings. I know that this is sort of the drawings that you guys are going to be encountering is that you may have old files from let's say 2014, 2012, or even older, and they may have older title blocks. And now what you want to do is that you want to take their title block and just replace it with new ones. Okay. So right here, off the bat, you're noticing that, okay, my extract no longer exists. All right. That's fine. Okay. What tends to happen is that you want to basically replace it with something new. So the first thing I want to do is that first you copy the sheet set manager. Okay. I'm just going to use the very simple one. Construction. This is part of construction documentation. I'm just going to use this as my template, or I could just say since it's a detail. Okay. I'm just going to use no subfolder. Okay. Just copy it. I'm just going to just paste it into the same location. But before I do anything, let me go in here and close it. And then just put this in the sheet. I'm just going to put this under here. Now it says that it cannot find the XREF. Okay. So what you want to do is that you can use the reference manager. Okay. Just use the reference manager. I'm just going to just say, just add whatever. And it'll tell me that this title will no longer exist. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that you can edit the select path. Okay, it tells me it's under this title block. So what I copied that drawing from is from the parcel 9. So I'm just going to go into the parcel 9. But if you do not want to do that, then let's say we want to replace it with one of our title blocks in our drawing. So what you can do is that go find the 11x17. Okay, let's say that's the drawing that you want. Okay, that's my detail. So what you want to do is that there is one is find and replace. Okay, so you want to say, okay, replace it with something else. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go back to that folder where I saved the sheet set template. I'm just going to go scroll down, my document. Computer, where's my iDrive? If it doesn't go to the network drive, I'll be disappointed. Oh, there you go, iDrive, good, CAD, and then I'm just going to go into the folder where I copy it. It's under the Lunch and Learn training. and either process, sample, and then I'm just going to say go to standard. And then I think it's this one. Say OK. Place all. What it does is that it's going to find that location, but the thing is that there's a trick. You want to replace the current file name. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go edit that name, or rename one of the Yolumba 17 with the new name. So what I would do is that just make a copy and paste it. Okay. And what you're going to do is that just make the same name. So I'm just going to say A30879 parcel 9 PB11 by 17. So what you're trying to do is that you're just basically tricking AutoCAD that this is my new title block. And
Like it's there the whole time.
yeah, exactly. So that's the trick that I usually do. If you want to replace it, this is how I would this is how I would do it. So I would just say, there we go. You see that? It finds that and then just hit apply changes. Okay. All right. Once you've done that, you're gonna go back into that particular drawing. I'm just gonna open that particular. Oh, I'm just gonna close out of this. Is it in here? I'm just gonna close out of that. Okay. So right now I'm just gonna go back into the sheets and into this drawing. Okay. Normally, if you were to replace all your title block line by 17, it's going to take you forever. So this is why I said it's better if you just say rename it and replace it with that and then call it a day. All right. So now you have this title block. Now what you want is that you want to basically copy, let's say, logos and all the content from, let's say, the new title block, right? So the first thing I would do is that open up the sheet set manager. Close this. So open up the sheet set manager. Okay, let's say that's, and what you want to do is just go to the model view, okay, and then go to the standard and double click on this DWT, okay, the template files. And what you want to do is just go back into that Yolumba 17, okay, which is this guy. Okay, so let's say I want to copy this particular block and that particular block. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm just going to select this. You can select the whole thing, that's fine, right? But let's say this content already have all the title block, everything except that it doesn't have a logo and stuff. So this is the only two I want to copy it over. So the first thing I would do is just copy a base point, 0, 0. Okay, so what does is that it just copy those content. Next thing you want to do is that paste it in here. So edit, paste with special origin. Oh yeah, again, sorry about that. My reference title block says it's not found, but I'll change it. It's because of the path. So okay, but if you do run into this problem, that's okay. You can still use the reference manager to yeah. Okay, sometimes it doesn't like to do that. So what I would do is that if it doesn't like that, that's okay. You can always use the classic extra. Classic extra. And what you can do with this is that, let's say if you want to find that location, just say, oh, it's going to be found here. Copy this and say save path. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't like it. But anyways, I'm going to save this drawing for now and then exit and then use the reference manager. Reference manager will just replace those. Okay, so let's say I'm going to go back, only add first level. And this is where you're going to say, okay, edit that select path and just change it. I don't know why sometimes AutoCAD will not let me change it. It should let you change it. Issued table. Oh, I see. Get rid of that table. That's one thing I forgot to mention. Just get rid of that. There you go. Yeah, this one doesn't have a subfolder. That's why everything's dumped into one location. There we go. So now what we can do is I just apply changes. Okay. If all else fails, always use Reference Manager. And then now what you can do is I just go back. Okay, good. Now it's pasted in here, but the thing is that you have to copy through all of this. Okay. Now that's going to take you a long time. Okay. I found a tool that you can actually copy that across all the other sheets. But you have to make sure that all the other sheets have the same 0, 0 point. It will not work if it's like positioned somewhere else. Okay. So how you do it is that you select this particular block or XREF. Okay. You select that. First thing you want to do is that you want to go to the tools. Okay. Miscellaneous utility. And it says right here, copy to all layouts. Okay, select the object and say hit the copy to all layout. And what it does is that it's going to go to all of that layout, and you see that it's already copied. Okay, so it's very fast. So all you need is that if you have a north arrow, you want to copy to all the other sheets. Place in one arrow and just say copy to all the sheets. Okay, let's say you want to delete this. How you want to? Let's say for example, this tile block no longer needed. You don't want it. You can delete all of it from the sheet. So how you do that? As for example, you made a mistake that you don't need this title block anymore. What I would typically do is that just bind this drawing. Let's say bind this. Okay. I usually go insert. Okay. And what it does is that it basically binds that. And then now what you can do is that if you want to get rid of this, all you have to do is just go to tools, block utility, delete block. Okay. What this does is that it will delete all the blocks in the drawing, regardless if they're in any other, layout tabs. So let's say I want to get rid of this. Say OK. There you go. So what it does is that all your title block, you see, deleted from the drawing. It will auto purge and does that. So what you want to do is that next you want to copy the title block from the other drawing. So let's say, for example, make sure I change the extra path. Yeah, exactly. But this one's okay. Okay, I think it's the other two that's not correct. So I think I'll probably have to change that in the future. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that just copy this, edit, copy base point, 0, 0. And then I'm just going to go back to my section, edit, paste to origin. There we go. Now, what you can do is that select this, and then go IBI group, tools, miscellaneous, copy to all layout. So what happened is that all your layout is going to have the same title block.
Can you show that again? I'm just,
Sure. I'm going to undo it.
okay.
I'm going to undo it. Undo it. Okay, so let's say you copy the title block over. Okay, so let's say that the rest doesn't have anything. First thing I would do is I just select that title block. Okay, go to IBI group, tools, miscellaneous utility, copy to all layout. Okay, now if you are in the ribbon mode, you can always go into the IBI group, and I believe it's under one of these, this one right here. Okay, copy to all layout. So first select that title block, and then miscellaneous utility, and just say copy to all layout. Okay, and then what it does is that it basically takes that and then it's copied over to the other title block. Okay, so yeah, you don't need to do a lot of this. Go to every single layout and delete every single thing. So what you have to do is right now is that know what that name is and just say delete the block. Make sure you always bind it, because the thing is that I could not find any tools to get rid of XREF. Because what happened is that if you do this, right, let's say for example, you want to detach it, won't let you, okay? Because if AutoCAD has like multiple layouts and multiple tabs, it will not let you do it until you delete it, right? So my suggestion is that just bind it. Bind it first, delete the block, and then replace it with the other stuff. Okay? Simple stuff. Okay. All right. That's that. All right. Cut off any unwanted plan using Revit. Okay. So now we're going to jump ship and then go into the Revit side of things. Now, before I do anything, I just want to demonstrate what this sheet looks like. So let's say you have a drawing. Let's say this is a perfect drawing. This is one of the jobs, really old. Okay. So let's say this is a 6 meg drawing, and let's say this is a very huge, and all you need is just that little section right here. Now, if you want to do trimming with AutoCAD, just using erase and stuff like that, it takes you forever, right? So what I'm going to do is that there's a trick inside Revit that just does this for you automatically. You just have to specify area where you want it.
It's Revit only.
This is Revit,
Okay.
Yeah, but AutoCAD doesn't have it, unfortunately. But you know, it's a trick inside Revit that you can use. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use like any template. Okay, just go new project, just say, okay, sure, whatever. Just select the template. The next thing you want to do is just go to one of the plans. So any plan, doesn't matter where it is. I'm just going to hide this for now so that when you export it, it will not show it. Okay, I'm going to hide it by category. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's the disadvantage when people put in view templates. Okay. See none. Now hide it, please. Category. There we go. Okay. So the first thing I would do is just go insert. Say cat link. You want to link them in. I will usually put in current view so that it doesn't show up in multiple views, only for this particular sheet. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to link that drawing in that particular location. CAD. Oops. Lunch and learn. So let's say speed up your process. Let's say cut off. Let's say that's the 6 meg. And size. I want the biggest size. Let's say that's the biggest size. All right, or interview. Yeah, you can just keep alone the rest of the other stuff. All right, and then just say okay. And what it does is it's gonna give you this. Okay, so let's say for example, inside Revit, you only want to see a certain part of area. So the first thing I would do is that I would turn this to on. Right, this is the crop mode, and then this is just basically the box showing where you want the crop mode to be. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to basically just window that corner.
Like X-clip.
Yes, that's right. But this one, the nice thing about this X-clip is that it just cut away all the other stuff. The problem with AutoCAD X-clip is that
it's still there,
and it increased the file size when you extract multiple drawings.
Bogging it down.
It will, yes, it will slow you down. That's the thing.
So this in Revit, because I don't use Revit, but this in Revit essentially is like an X-clip, except it's really a crop. It's gone.
It's gone, yes. Okay, let's say for example you want this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to export this out. Export drawing. Okay, let's say that's my view. I'm just going to put it in there, sure, and say okay. All right. So now let's see, where's that file? And when I open it, you see that it's only that particular portion. Okay. Sometimes you have big files. Now inside Revit, you can also do this, right? You don't have to stick with rectangular. You can edit the crop. Okay. Let's say I want it to be polygon, right? So what I would do is that okay, this is the region that I want to use. Just as a demonstration. I know that you guys probably will be dealing with a lot of this from, let's say, existing client, and then you want to do, like, let's say, they give you the whole plan, right, rather than going, you know, this the partial of it. There we go. And then you just go export. Okay. So it's a good way. I mean, this is just a technique that I just show people, saying that, you know, if you guys want to cut it off and then not just use delete, because I know that people just use AutoCAD and just say delete. That takes you forever. Imagine you have like 20 floors of the same version. Now the nice thing about Revit is that you can actually transfer this clipping into the multiple levels as well. So what you're doing is that you're getting a consistency. Okay. Okay, so let's say one level you want this, and then the next level you want like a certain one, and you say crop the same one and export all of it. So yes. Okay. There we go. So all you're getting is just a cropped version of your plan. Any questions so far? Pretty good, right? Pretty good trick. Okay, the next one would be it's a Sketchup file. So I know that a lot of our users are using Sketchup files, right? So let's say this is the sample. Oh, actually, what it says. Following error, hardware acceleration. Okay, so what happened is that I did an export. Okay, it looks like this in AutoCAD. Okay, so what typically happens is that when we do SketchUp files, people in AutoCAD always just retranslate whatever's in here, right? Just line by line and all that stuff. And I sometimes find that to be very, very wasteful because you're just wasting time translating a lot of this line, which you could translate those objects into just basically a bunch of lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and just say do like a projection. Let's say if you want like, let's say an elevation of this, okay? I'm just going to show you how it's done. So what we're going to use is we're just going to use the Revit again, okay? I'm going to go to level 2. Okay, first I'm just going to turn this off. So next I'm going to do is I'm just going to do CAD link. Example. Convert. Let's say that's the file. Make sure you don't set it to current view only, because the problem is that if this is a 3D, you want to show elevation, you want to make sure that this thing's check off. Place it at level 1, that's fine, and say hit open. Okay, so there we go. So that's your view. I usually like to turn this off so I don't see it. So let's say, for example, you wanna take an elevation of this particular SketchUp model. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm just going to cut a section. You can use elevation, doesn't matter, but I'm just going to use this as a very, very quick section, and then I'm just going to flip it. Okay. What you're seeing in here is that it's basically an elevation within your Revit model. Okay. Now, the next thing you want to do is that you basically want to make it all black and white. So what I would do is that I would select that object, just go override graphics and view. Here I would just say make it all line weight 1, color, just make it all black. Okay, just keep it consistent. There we go. Now when you have this thing done, next thing you want to do is just export. Okay. Export to DWG. I'm just going to go section 1, and yeah, sure. Let's say I'm going to put it there. And once that's done, then I'm just going to go into the this particular drawing. Oh, actually, this is the second drawing. Sorry, I'm just going to close that out. Forgot to mention. Okay, let's say go back. I think it's this one. Yeah. There you go. So that's basically just a CAD drawing. So you could just keep exploding until you get a bunch of lines. Okay. Save you lots of time. So I'm just going to explode again. You see that's just a bunch of lines. Okay. So you could just translate a lot of your SketchUp model into 2D lines, so that you don't have to, show everything in 3D. Okay. Now, if you want to put it in like graphics and stuff like that, you can also do it inside Revit. So let's say, for example, inside Revit, you know that this is going to be a border for your building. So what I typically do is that I use annotate and then just go detail lines. All right. I usually use like, let's say, a medium line. Okay. And you can just basically pick a corner. I want this to be darker. Okay. Or you could just say, okay, that one has to be even darker. So I would just say white lines. Okay. Now you start to see that, okay, that's my line weight. So you could just basically just pick the line weight, Okay, what you're doing is that you're just basically drawing like 2D elements that you think that it's going to be dark, right? You can also put in like a fill region, like a hatch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this and just call this glass. And in here, I'm just going to put in solid hatch, and the color I'm just going to just put in like glass color. Line weight, I'm just going to say 1. And what I'm going to do is that all you have to do is just translate that, and then I'm just going to say visible line, sure, that's fine. Okay, once you have that, then you can start to export. Okay, now when you export, there's kind of a 2 mode that you could choose. You could choose what Revit will translate into AutoCAD is basically your index color. So it's going to use whatever color from 1 to 255. Or you could use this, what I like to use is the true color, okay? The reason why index color, if you're using a CTB files, I would choose the index color. But if you want to see like, let's say you do not want to use plot setting, you just want to see black and white, use it as a background, I would just say use the true color. I'll demonstrate the difference. So I'm just going to click on this for now, and just say this one, export out section. This is the index, and now I'll just basically showcase side by side what's the difference. And next thing I want to do is that I want to export it out again. Color, use the true type, and then say next, and then this is going to be the true color. Okay, so let's say I'm going to open it up. So you have the index. I'm just going to open that up. Oops. See, make sure that close out of that. Yeah, make sure I close out of this. Okay. So now I'm going to do is that this is your index color. You noticing that when you export out, it's going to convert this into say layer. It's going to translate to whatever is in here, right? Your layer color. When you plot, you have to rely on, let's say, if it's an AIA, to get the line weight. Okay. Now it displays all black. Okay. If you export out the true color, you notice that there's a glass color basically translate the same thing. So you don't have to choose this. You could just set this to none. You don't need to display it. So let's say I'm going to go in here and leave alone whatever. You see that the line weight also gets translated over. Okay. So most cases, how would I use this? So let's say if you want to use this as just a background, kind of a see what you see is what you get, I would typically use the true color. If you want to use it for consultant that only speaks AutoCAD and they want that difference between the color, then I'll use the index most of the time. If you're sending files to consultant that's using Vectorworks, it's better to do it with the true color. But sometimes they may ask, oh, send me a file with the layer color, then just send them the index color. So it really depends on what you're using. Both are applicable. But if you are doing, let's say, a CA, and then you want to use AutoCAD just to do like check printing and all that stuff, I would recommend using true color because you get what you get. What you see is what you get, and then when you export it out, you see it exactly what Revit sees it.
No one has to interpret it.
That's exactly. And then when you print it, you don't have to muck around anything, because that's the one thing that with the index color you have to do a lot of manipulation, like to get things right. And sometimes I don't want to deal with a lot of this setup. Okay, so those are basically the two differences between when you export out inside Revit, is that there's 2 mode You just have to pick and choose which one you think it works best for the consultant and yourself. Okay, so yeah. Any questions so far? All right, let's see, what's my next one? Okay, already done that. All right, printing PDF 50% using Adobe Acrobat. So let's say, for example, the last demonstration I was going to do is more of just converting stuff. So let's say, for example, you have a PDF already created. This is like, no, this is already created. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to go into one of the projects, just use one of the files. Just use this one, and just use submission. Okay, let's say you have a drawing, PDF, individual. Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to print this half size. Okay, let's say I want to print up to tower 3. So the first thing I would do is just combine this. Okay, combine a bunch of files. Depending on how many drawings you have, sometimes it will take you 30 minutes just to print like 200 sets. Most of the time, okay, so let's say you want to convert this to half size. So the first thing I would do is I just hit the print, use the Adobe PDF, okay, Adobe PDF, okay, actual size, just make sure you choose it. The only thing you have to do is just go to properties, okay, select the page size you want. So since this is Arch E1, so I think half size is going to be NCC. That's basically the size I want. Click on the layout. Okay, here I'm just going to pick a landscape. Click on Advanced. Okay, the Advanced button is what you want. And this is where you're going to say scaling 50%. Okay, so this is one thing that users just have to know, that if you want to convert it 50%, this is where you do it. Say OK. And when you hit OK, and what it does is that you see that it's auto scale, basically actual size, and then you hit print. What it does is that it's basically taking your E1, do it 50% and as a PDF. Now, why would I want to do PDF and not just send it directly to the printer? What tends to happen is that printer, if you say I want 50%, the problem with the 50% is that it just print 50% of your image, but the paper size is the same. So you have to be careful because it's very, very finicky. I've tried both ways, it just doesn't work. The best way is that print 1-to-1, it works beautifully. So I would say do this method first, right? Just print it and send it to printer as 1-to-1, and then everything prints up pretty good. Okay? And also, keep in mind is that if you're sending it to Pack Blue, they would charge you for downsizing. Okay? If you're using like all the other print shops, every time you say print half size, they would charge you for downsizing the file. Okay? But if you send them this directly and saying, please print this this size, then they will not charge you for that downsizing. If you're doing one set, yes, it's going to add up. But if you're doing multiple sets, it's okay. The cost is so minuscule that you're not going to notice it. It's only when you're doing like a single plot, then that's where you're going to see all the costs. Okay. All right. Once it's done, right now, okay. So right now it's been created. Okay. And then now what I could do is that you can go into this plotter. Okay. Gotta create this weird name. And now what it does is that, yeah, it's going to rotate upside down. That's fine. You see that it's going to create half size. Now, when you send it to printer, one thing I have to tell people, if you send it to this kit plotters upstairs, is that, okay, let's say I'm going to go this one. The one thing that I tell users always do is that when you go to properties, okay, it'll tell you a bunch of stuff. And the one thing that you want to set correctly is that Make sure you change the page size correctly, okay? Come on. And for the photo, I would always choose the CAD, okay? Because if you want to print CAD stuff, you always want to do CAD. Yeah, sorry, my graphics is really bad for this one. Yeah, choose the CAD and hit OK. And when you do the pen settings, use the line quality, okay? Those two combinations will give you the best result when you print it out, all your drawings. I would not choose other settings unless you have like a graphics, like a really nice poster, then you have to choose one of those photos or something else. But for CAD, these two settings are basically what you need to put in, okay? If you don't put it in, some of your drawing looks muddy, okay? Because I do have people complaining. I'll just say, you know, did you set this? Unfortunately, the default is always default. It just doesn't do much. I try to change it in the printer settings. It just doesn't do much. So what I
change page size and change quality automatically on the photo. We change it.
CAD, yes.
Okay.
And then the pen setting, always choose line quality, okay? Because what I did in there is that the line will basically make it very fine, very nice. All right, those are basically those settings. If you have any question, did you link to SketchUp or CAD? It's basically, okay, SketchUp files, Revit is able to pick up SketchUp files in the newer version. It's just the older version, I just export them out. Okay, so for this question, I just say, I just export and import link CAD, okay? So basically, that's the question I have. You guys have any questions? No questions?
No.
All right. So basically, those are basically some of the tricks that I've used a lot. I mean, it's very effective. Well, once you kind of understand how a lot of this thing works, you can use different programs. You don't have to know Revit, but you just have to know that you can do that, and it's very, very fast. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would just say just use any program that works. You don't have to be stuck with just one program. I always say just use whatever program that works the best.
And see, I wouldn't think that I would just be able to use Revit to do a thing
unless
I knew Revit. So
no, I mean, this one, anybody can use it. Just like, yeah, just import it in, crop where you want it, export them out.
Right. So I'm glad that you're recording these so that I can look back and try to find the answer myself before I bug you again. But
yes.
That's good. And how quickly do they go up?
Once this is translated, it takes about like 40 minutes, and then I have to upload to YouTube.
Okay.
Okay, and then YouTube takes another like 40 minutes, depending on the codec and stuff like that. And then once that's done, then I'll just send it to everybody saying that, yeah, this YouTube's up. Okay. And yeah, like if you guys want like future topics, just let me know, because I usually do a lot of this tips and tricks. Okay, because there's some people saying, oh, I need this, but you know what? Yeah, I'm open to suggestions. Okay, so I was asking about when you were in Revit, do you link it, link to SketchUp, or just 3D CAD? Oh, I see, just 3D CAD. 3D CAD. And all right, that's it for today. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just email me. You know where to find me. Sometimes I'm very busy. Just send me an email, because email, I usually just, once I finish a task, I just check my email and see what's going on. So,
thank you.
Can you? Okay. Okay. The question: can you link SketchUp? Yes. Yes. In 2016, only with family. All right. Thank you.